All right, Nick, we are live on YouTube. The Cincinnati Reds are currently, obviously, we're in a situation where Nick's going to update this as we go along. The Reds are winning 2-1, and we are hopefully going to finish this game. Or, to be honest with you, maybe we don't. I mean, I don't know what we should we be. I think we should be rooting for the idea that they just bang this thing, right?
Yeah, I need to remember. We need to get you in here as a speaker on.
Yeah, just
the spaces. I gotta figure out how to add
you can either request me as a host or I can request myself, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, there we go. I see you. Let me invite to co-host. All right, we should be getting that, and then you should be good. Let me hear you through the phone, and then I'll know. And then I can take my headphones off because I don't even need them.
Yep, we're good.
All right. Good deal. All right, let's get Elliot in here. The man.
This ought to be good.
All right, Elliot, what's up, brother?
Hey, guys, how you doing?
Doing well, doing well.
Hey, what a great game the Reds have put on tonight, yeah?
It's been good, yeah, I'd say so, Elliot.
Yeah, there's been a lot of great defensive plays. I don't that guy at second base, I don't know his name. But he's played pretty well.
Well, if you don't know this, I don't know if you know this or not, Elliot, but he was the National League Rookie of the Year just a couple years ago.
No, he did. He won the Rookie of the Year?
He did. That's what he did, Elliot. I know you. It's hard to believe.
That we'd like to build around, right?
If he's willing to stay, I think that would be something we could consider. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good. Nick, what are your thoughts? I'd love to hear your thoughts, Nick.
Oh wow. My thoughts on I think he's had a nice ball game today. Made a nice play. He's helped the team today. Yeah. He's helped the team.
All right, yeah. Listen, guys. I love your work. I'm gonna listen right now, but I just wanted to say that Jonathan Innie guy. I'm not a baseball guy myself, but he's been really good.
Concurred.
Hey.
All right. Let's get Evan in here. Sorry, I'm trying to do 8 things here at once. We'll get this going. What inning are we in? Are we in the 8th?
I think so. Yeah.
I don't even know what inning. Trying to have the scoreboard look good for those watching on YouTube. So, all right, I think we're in business. All right, Evan.
Yeah, I do like building around Rookie of the Year. So really, for me, I think the Reds need to build around Will Meyer. So if you guys don't remember, Will Myers, he won Rookie of the Year too. I think it would be great for the Reds to, in fact, just build an all-time Rookie of the Year roster. First thing they need to do, get Will Myers back here. Play him every single day. Let's do it. Rookie of the Year, baby.
Good call, Evan. Really quickly, were you a Rookie of the Year fan, movie-wise?
I like Rookie of the Year. I think it's a nice film.
Yeah, I don't think it's bad.
Wow.
Good for kids.
Got some haters.
All right, let's get to some folks that might actually have some questions. I would really like to just tailor off the India talk a little bit tonight. I mean, it almost turns into this thing where I don't know, man. It's like every time you try to compare two great players, the argument always ends up trying to demean or degrade one of the great players. We're not doing it, but if you said LeBron versus Jordan, inevitably someone's going to start clowning LeBron or clouding Jordan, and it just doesn't seem like something we should do for our own players. So anyway.
All right. Hang with me here. I got to lean in. So when I lean into add a guess, I'm probably going to be a lot louder for those on YouTube. Sorry about that. But Clint, when you get connected, unmute yourself. What do you got for us?
First of all, Rookie of the Year, terrible movie. No way a kid's so nice.
It's good for kids, though. I think it's a good kid movie. It's a good kid movie.
No, there's no way. That kid
would not survive in this day and age of analytics. Anyways,
I'm thinking
what do you think the current, like, the next month of Reds baseball, like, what kind of lineups are we going to see with Spencer Steer being in the, you know, are we going to move him up to the top 3, top 4?
Let me clear something up really fast. I'm going to answer your question, Clint, but I want to clear something up for Nick because his brain's in a pretzel right now. There is 2 different movies. One's called The Rookie. One's called Rookie of the Year. The Rookie is where the old guy, that's true story, Dennis Quaid, you know, goes and pitches. He's got the baby attached to his hip while he's at tryouts, all that. So that's where your brain's in a little bit of a pretzel. In regards to, I guess, what are we talking about? Spencer Steer in this lineup or just in general? What was the question, Clint?
Where do you see Spencer Steer hitting in the next month or so?
Just hitting in the lineup? Where?
Yeah, you see him. You see David finally moving him up, or?
That's a good question. I could see it going either way, to be honest. I mean, I don't really think it matters as much as we make it out to be. I know everyone loves to get super upset about lineups. I don't know. I mean, I think if you're looking for the optimal lineup, I think you move them up. But is it a huge deal? No. You know, you also are probably weighing in the confidence of Jonathan India. Is that really worth a couple spots up in the lineup if you think it's going to, you know, hurt his confidence? He already mentioned, or Jim Day reported on yesterday's broadcast that the trade talks has kind of got to him a little bit. So, you know, then you move him down to 7th in the lineup. You know what I mean? It could be one of those things that the risk-reward factor is something you always have to put into these lineups, at least in my opinion. What do you got, Trace?
I mean, the beautiful thing about Spencer Steer is, at least I think, in my opinion, it showed that he's capable of producing no matter where you put him. So if you have other guys that aren't capable of doing that, and you know, maybe they feel a little more comfortable in certain spots over others, perhaps you tend to their needs more than you do Spencer Steer's, I guess. I don't foresee the lineup making a too big of a difference in regards to where Spencer's at more times than not. However, I do think when there's a lefty throwing, I think naturally he's going to move up in the lineup just because Fraley's not in there, Votto's not in there, Friedel's not really leading off, if you will, so that kind of pushes some guys around a little bit. I don't really know what to make about the Jonathan India thing. I'm trying not to make too much out of it because I think it's a short sample size and you can get yourself in trouble if you start going off the deep end with short sample size stuff. I just think Jonathan India is struggling a little bit right now. And, you know, listen, if Jonathan India says it's because of the trade talks, then I guess I'll believe him.
Anything else for us, Clint?
Yeah, last question. Are you more of a fan of David Bell, the player, or David Bell, the manager?
I don't think he was a very good player, so I'm guessing manager.
I did not watch him play, so I wouldn't know. I had not seen David Bell play a whole lot.
Career 85 OPS plus, so I'm going to go manager.
Was he a captain? A leader?
He feels like he would be, right?
Yeah, maybe. An 85 OPS plus, if you're a captain and a leader, you know, those things can work out.
All right, Clint, appreciate the call. We're going to go to Liam. Liam, what's cracking? We need some more requests. Last night, everyone was on. I got no one else after Liam, so.
Am I the only one? Wait, can y'all hear me?
You're great.
All right, man. Am I the only one who's completely on the trade India, whether it be at the deadline or in the off-season train? As we're going like down the line with Marte, and you're going to have some guy emerge in the outfield, I just don't see a spot for him.
Liam, I appreciate the call. I don't even know what to do. I mean, it's just like this is the only thing anyone wants to talk about. Anywhere. It's the only.
That makes sense.
Liam, I hear you. I think that the Reds probably are better off if they look to move him. But I just feel like we're exhausting this so much that it's becoming toxic at this point.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where we're at to a certain extent. You bring up a good point, Liam. Can I defend the other side just for a minute? Even though I've been on the side of hey, you get as much value as you possibly can out of somebody while you have depth below them in which you could afford to lose somebody. That's been my biggest argument, if there is one to be made, about the whole Jonathan India situation, is that, Matt McClain looks like a stud. I think that he's going to slide in at second base very nicely. He's good defensively at second base. And then you got Elly at short, and obviously Marte maybe at third base. But here's where I will at least somewhat say we can't just automatically knock out the what Jonathan India has meant for this team. And when I say meant for this team is I'm not one of those guys that say if he gets traded, then all hell's going to break loose. We're not going to know what to do in the clubhouse anymore because he's the leader that makes everything go, and we're basically screwed if he leaves. I do want to be a little hesitant to at least somewhat say to everybody, before we automatically just say this guy needs to go, we don't want him, blah, 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 blah. He clearly is liked in the clubhouse. If he's capable and willing, Nick, to move positions to better the team, and he's willing to get paid a market rate for said position, which is probably left field, then I'm willing to have that conversation. But nobody ever wants to talk about the backside of that, which is, does Jonathan India really want to move positions? Does Jonathan India really, I guess for lack of a better term, does he want to sign an extension with the Reds? You can say whatever you want in the press, and you can say how much you love it here, but when your agent, or when you sit down and you start doing the math and you're like, hey, if I hit the free agent market as a second baseman with these metrics, I'm going to make an extra $2, $3, $4, $5 million a year. Are you willing to give that up? Do you want to stay in Cincinnati? I don't know. That's the point that I would say is probably the biggest caveat to this, is that you can't just let Jonathan India walk if he doesn't want to sign an extension, because he's too valuable to not get nothing in return for him. So that's my only. Listen, Jonathan India he's not like this. He's not like a terrible player here. Let's not sit here and act like we need to run him out of town just automatically. But there's really good pieces behind him, and you start to kind of question whether or not you need to. I don't want to say you need to trade him, but you start questioning whether or not you need him and whether or not what you can get back in return for him. So we've done this Jonathan India thing a lot. I hate doing this all the time, chat, because it just turns into us being negative to one of our guys that cares about this team and wants to win. And we're fans of said team. So hopefully that comes across the right way. I don't want to sit here and say we're trying to be cop-outs, but it doesn't feel right to continue to talk about we have to ship this guy off or we got to get rid of him. And you end up talking about how crappy of a player he is when he's not. He doesn't deserve that, quite frankly. And that's just my overall thoughts on it. Nick?
I don't think he's a crappy player. Trading him would be under the assumption he's just not moving for second base. Because if we could play him third or left, I'm all in.
Yeah. No, you bring up an excellent point. If you listen to Liam, if you listen to our shows a lot, which if you haven't, that's perfectly fine too. You don't need to. We've talked about the fact that there's no doubt that what you're saying is without question true. The writing seems to be on the wall that they're going to trade him. I'll leave it at that.
I'm just not sure he has enough value in the corner spots in the outfield.
No, I mean he's 22 out of the corner. I think the day that I think Reed can pop in here if he wants to confirm this, but out of the 28 or 30 corner outfield positions, Jonathan India would have ranked 22nd in his production at the plate from an OPS plus standpoint. So,
and adding to that, the league average right fielder is 107. Weighted runs created plus, the league average left fielder is 105. So, I mean, he's an average corner outfielder, has never played those positions defensively. So, I mean, could he? Yeah, but if another team's going to value him as a second baseman, then that's probably,
It takes two to tango, everybody. Let's not forget that. It takes two to tango. I mean, just because Jonathan India, we want him to be here, he has to want to be here too, and he has to want to take a pay cut because when you go to the corner outfield spots, you're going to take a pay cut. That's what it is. And the only other thing I would add is the same concept with the Castillo thing, right? Everybody wants to scream and yell about Castillo, but Castillo also had to want to sign he had to want to sign with the Cincinnati Reds too, and he might not want to have. So anyway. Next question. Topic, whatever.
All right, are you good, Liam?
Yeah, man, I'm good.
All right, Evan, real quick, what do you got?
Oh, this is a very happy. How about Andrew Abbott, guys? I mean, look at his starts now. I mean, when he came up here, there was some concern with the strikeouts. I mean, if you look at AAA and AA, he was striking out a lot of people. But at first, they were a little bit low when he was coming up here. But now, last start, he had 10 strikeouts. Today, he had 8. I think it's starting to turn around for Abbott. I think he's going to be that strikeout guy that we sort of expected. And I think it's a good sign striking out that many people, especially with the Orioles lineup. I think he performed very well tonight, especially as time went on. So what do you guys think of Abbott? Is he going to live up to those strikeout numbers we saw in AAA and AA? Or in reality, is it somewhere in between? I'm curious to see what you guys think.
He's probably somewhere in between. I think his first couple starts, he probably wasn't striking out nearly as much, but 12.6 strikeouts per 9. Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, that's a lot of strikeouts. I think as he probably develops, he'll probably pitch a little bit more to contact. I don't know. Maybe I would say maybe 10's the ceiling. 10 strikeouts per 9. I'm just kind of guessing here, to be honest, but that's maybe where I would see it.
You've heard my opinion on Abbott for a while. You know what I really love about the Reds, or at least I really love about a lot of these prospects, is some of these guys have played high major, high-level college baseball. I mean, they just have. And when you play high major, high-level college baseball and you have overwhelming success, it shows me a couple things. One, you're strong mentally. You're able to handle pressure, because the pressure that is surmounted at those big programs, I'm telling you, it is a lot. I'm not suggesting it's the same as maybe being a major leaguer, but when you're playing at those programs, I would argue that it's – I know this sounds wild, and people are going to be like, oh, listen to Trace. He's saying stupid stuff again. I think there's more pressure on a sophomore and junior in a major college program that expects to play professional baseball than there is a guy that gets called up to the major leagues. And the reason I say that is because – at that point, you aren't wealthy. At that point, you don't have anything to show for all of your hard work in your entire life. You're trying to show your draft capital, your draft stock. There's pressure that comes with that. And if you're able to perform under that pressure in the SEC, in the PAC, in the ACC, I would argue that you're I don't want to say a nut cutter, but you come from a different cloth than most people. And I think Andrew Abbott fits that mold. He shows up. He looks like he belongs. He doesn't get hurried up. He's not pressured. I love Andrew Abbott. And I think Matt McLain, a little bit cut from the same cloth. Those two guys remind me of kind of the same type of mindset.
All right, let's go to Michael W. Michael W. First off, thank you for all your proud support. Seen you a lot, sharing our stuff, and appreciate it. So thank you, Mike. Happy to talk to you. What's going on?
Yeah, so I just wanted to weigh in a little bit on India. I know you guys have talked a lot about him, but one thing that we can't take for granted, all of these prospects that have come up have done such a great job. I don't think we can assume that everyone else is going to do that. You know, we're talking about Marty coming up and playing third. Hopefully that'll be the case, but at this point, we don't know that. We know what we have with India. So I don't think that, that we can necessarily just assume that Marty and CES are going to come up and have that same success that Elly and McLean and Steer have had. So I think that has to weigh into that, especially if we think that the Reds are going to be as good as they can be in 2024. And then on Abbott, going back to the strikeouts, I mean, I think the numbers that he put up right in the beginning of the season, certainly the tack ball and the batters not being used to it probably had a lot to do with that. So I agree with you that it's probably going to be somewhere in between those the numbers that he put up in Double-A to start and where he has been in the majors lately.
You bring up
that's
points.
Good points. I think that's a good point about, the Reds have had a very fortunate run of instant prospect success that's not normal. You will have some Jose Barreros, some Nick Senzel's thrown in there. So Marte's about as close to I don't want to say the word, but you know what I'm going at. I'm not going to jinx anything. But I feel really good about him. The one thing I would say, though, is it's not like he'd be the only option. Like, there's already a fallback plan of just put Spencer Steer at third base,
exactly.
CES at first base, rotate DHs or DH CES, and the easiest position to find a free agent is a free agent first baseman, or there's like 1,000 guys in the organization that could play first base, or you know what I mean? So it's not like you're necessarily stuck with Marte. It's not like it's Marte or bust instantly. You do have fallback plans, and the biggest thing we keep getting baited into this. It's not anyone's fault, but it just feels like you're gonna have at some point India's gonna be kind of forced into a spot as opposed to just seamlessly fitting into it like a lot of other guys. And I don't honestly, that's not sure that's even fair to Jonathan India, right? It's just going to be a challenging situation to navigate, not an impossible situation, but I think it would become a challenging situation here at some point.
Well, let's just hope that when Marte comes up and when CES comes up, they replicate the success that the other guys have had, and then we can trade India without fear of what's to come.
Yeah. Good stuff. Tracy, got anything else on that?
No, I was just going to echo what you had already said. I mean, they already have a fallback plan. Spencer Steer can play third base. CES can play first base. That's if Marte doesn't pan out. Let's just say that for whatever reason, you could argue CES can't play first base, so he has to DH, and then all of a sudden you go out and you find a free agent first baseman. So there's ways around to navigate if Marte is not the guy that you think he is. But I just want to remind everybody that Matt McLain, and again, Matt McLain, not every single Hall of Fame player. I mean, Mike Piazza got drafted in the late rounds because he knew somebody, or Tommy Lasorda knew his family or whatever. So I'm not suggesting just because you're not a top prospect, you can't have a great major league career. But Matt McLain wasn't even a top 100 prospect. They threw him in there at the end when he came up. But it's like let's not downplay how high everybody has been on Marte for so long. And again, he brings up an excellent point. You never know until you know. So until he's here and until he's producing the way that everybody thinks he can produce, you don't really know. But I'd venture to guess that that he's going to be at least an average, or at least maybe a little bit below average hitter. And I'm relatively confident he's going to be a little bit better defensively than what his replacement would be. So
yeah. All right, good stuff. Let's move on. I'm trying to keep everyone in order. Sorry if we go out of order at all. Let's go to Archie the Answer. Archie, what's going on?
Hey, what's up, guys? A couple quick questions for you. So, quick hitters. Luke Maile, is something going on here where, he's the personal catcher now of Abbott. So how do we feel how he can handle the other pitchers where maybe Casale becomes a candidate to be DFA'd? Love Kirk Casale, but, maybe it's time for him to go and Maile get more time, and Stevenson, maybe he and Stevenson split. Number 2, are you guys enjoying as much of the retread rubber arms we keep running back and forth between Louisville and Cincinnati as I am? I love watching every day of who we're going to call up that I've never heard of before. Have heard of Alec Mills, though. And then lastly, are we able to pick up a cheap win tonight? Will they call this thing, or will they just pick it up in the 8th tomorrow? I'll hang up and listen.
What a great call.
Let's go backwards. They can't pick it up in the 8th tomorrow, right? I don't know the rules. I guess I should. I always just assumed once it got past the 5th inning, if it got banged for today, that was the final score. Is that not? Have they changed that? Have I lost touch with what the new rules are? But I thought that it was over.
I think we can bang it because they completed the inning and the Reds had the lead going into the inning. So I'm pretty sure they can. I'm gonna do some research while we're talking here, and I'll try.
Chat's saying it's done. Chat's saying it's done. So we'll see. Anyway, but let's go to his other. This is where my am I having a bunch of fun seeing guys run back and forth? No, I'm not. I'd like to think that at some point we can have some reliability, but right now it's the cards we got, man. So let's see what we can do. Nick?
I mean, I think it's smart what they're doing. I mean, with where they're at. I think that this is maybe an extreme version of it, but this is what a lot of smart teams do is they're shipping guys back and forth. Now, typically they're not doing like DFAing guys all the time. Usually it's guys with options they're shipping back and forth, but you have to do that, I think, to maximize your staff, and that way you're not pitching your reliable relievers more than you need to, and then they're not lasting a full season. So some of it's, I think the hardest thing, I think the thing that so many baseball fans, myself included, get wrong is how difficult it is to manage a bullpen over 162 games. It is so hard. There's so many factors. You're constantly getting information, constantly having guys that I can't throw today, or maybe I can throw today. Maybe I can give you a third of an inning. It's tough. That's not an easy job. That's probably, I think, the toughest job of a manager. Tracy, you got any other things on the bullpen?
No, I think we're just we're trying to survive and advance right now, the best we know how, the best we can. It's not pretty. It's not going to be pretty. I think it also should be said that the month of July is going to tell a lot of things about where and what's going to happen, I think, towards the end of the month. And that is largely because I think we play the Brewers, 8 times, somewhere in there? 7 times? 7 times. So, hopefully we get hot for those week and a half that we play them, because we do end up playing them like within a 2-week window too. It's not like we play them at the beginning of the month and the end of the month. So hopefully we get hot and we take care of business. The next thing you know, we got a little bit of leeway until we get some of the big dogs back, which the scary part, if we want to be honest, is when those guys come back, there's no guarantee they're going to be good.
Yeah, and then the last thing about the catchers, the one thing I've tried to bring up several times, and I think is important to at least remember is, and I don't know the answer to this, does Kurt Casale have any trade value? Does Luke Maile have any trade value? Is there a team out there that maybe could need a catcher? We're now 4 weeks away from the deadline. You've wrote out 3 catchers this long. If you do want to, cut ties with that, is there a trade partner for one of the guys that could get you anything back? So, and I know I've said this all year, I really don't think that last position on the roster is as big of a deal as everyone makes it out to be. The last player doesn't play very often. TJ Hopkins. I think he played like once in 7 days or something like that. While he was on the roster. So I think sometimes we might make a little bit of too big of a deal out of that, but I don't know. I'm not in a rush to DFA the catcher. I don't know. I don't think it's a big deal. Anything else, Archie?
I would just say that this reminds me a lot of old school banana phone with some of these hot takes to lead off on India. So you guys keep doing your thing, man. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Thank you. Clint, real quick, what do you got?
I was going to say, so we were talking about, I saw that the Lucas Sims game got brought up a ton yesterday. And I don't know if y'all remember, but that game was restarted in like the 8th or the 9th the next day. And we did not pull that through. But I saw a lot of articles today about how Elly might make the All-Star game. Who would y'all rather see in the All-Star game for us Elly or obviously, Alexis.
I mean, Alexis is definitely in the All-Star game, right?
It would be silly if he's not in the All-Star game. I mean, I like to see Elly more than anything, just because I think Elly just brings so much to the game, and people that are watching it that don't tune into baseball all the time will be like, hey, those Cincinnati Reds are cool. That would be fun. But Matt McLain, Alexis Diaz, Spencer Steer, they're all more deserving. So it's kind of like deserving versus want. You're kind of stuck in the middle.
I know this sounds wild, but maybe I don't want the echo to go away from the chat. It's gonna be difficult for me to listen to the caller and get back on here, but I'm gonna do my best. The thing I was going to say about Elly in the All-Star game, and maybe I'm overthinking this because I probably am, but I don't want Elly to get so much attention that it detracts or it takes away from what some of his teammates may think of him. Because even if Elly, and you can say what you want, hopefully there's grown men in the locker room and they won't succumb to this. But I could see the idea of a guy like Spencer Steer, Matt McLain. Those guys have played unbelievable. And just because Elly has the tools and he's fun and he's flashy and all those things, that's great. But I really hope that I hope he gets the recognition and all that. That's great. But I also hope that those guys don't get so overshadowed that they feel like that they're not getting their right justice and due for how good of players they are. They're overshadowed by a guy who isn't producing at the level that they are. So maybe I'm overthinking it. I probably am. I would like to think that those guys in the locker room could care less about all that, but you never know, and I really don't want that to become something that people are tired of in the locker room.
All right, let's go to Dad ? You've been in here a while. And Ethan, hang tight. You're next. Dad, unmute yourself.
Oh, hey, can you guys hear me?
You sound great.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. I wanted to talk about Stevenson. So, obviously he's not producing in the DH spot. Yeah, I get it. And I know he got this kind of injury prone last year. But here's my logic. I mean, no one's really producing offensively in the catching spot. If we have Stevenson in the 9-hole, and he's the worst hitter on our team, that's a damn good problem to have, right?
Yeah.
So do they really think he's that bad defensively behind the plate? I thought he shined in decent spots last year. And I just feel like DHing is really hard to only have 4 at-bats and then sit the rest of the game. I feel like you could have CES. I think that's his position in the future is to DH. So why don't we put Stevenson back there?
I think it's just because they had a plan of having him only catch 60 games this year. I mean, I think they're sticking to that. So I think that's why you're not.
That'll change next year, or
you talking about why they don't play Stevenson defensively more often? Is that the question?
Can't hear you, Trace.
Oh, I gotta mute myself. Is the question why aren't we playing Stevenson more defensively?
Yes.
I think the easy answer is because they don't think that he's capable of being a consistent enough catcher that he's not going to cost them extra runs or extra bases or whatever it may be because he's that bad defensively. So I maybe I'm wrong. Hopefully Nick's right. Hopefully they just think that they want to pace him. But I have a strong feeling that if he was throwing guys out and he was blocking pitches and he was calling games and his ERA wasn't, 3 points higher than the next guy in regards to pitching ERA, I'd like to think they'd catch him more. But I think that's the main problem is they don't think that he's a good defensive he's a good enough defensive catcher that they want to run him out there a bunch.
Yeah, I mean he's only caught one out of the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games. So that's so maybe I think they're sticking to the plan. I mean, they made a huge deal about this plan before the offseason and during the offseason. And it's funny because I don't think anyone complained about it at the time, but whatever. But I do think what Trace is saying, I mean, I think the fact that it's only caught one of the last 7 games does show there's probably some concern, because even if you're, talking a 60-game plan, it's more than 1 out of 7, right? So I think there's probably a little bit of both. They're sticking to their plan. They're not changing that. And I think the goal was to go 60 and then go, I don't know, maybe 80, 90 next year, and it was a really brutal injury that he came back from. And I know I've said it multiple times. If you look at the games that he's played, this guy has not played all that many games since 2020. And his development really got, pushed to the side through 2020. And then through 2021, we had Tucker Barnhart catching way more games than he ever should have. I digress. And that's kind of where we're at now.
Yeah, I just feel like he learned a lot from – I think he was with Tucker. I think he learned a lot behind the plate, and we watched him really, learn that position a lot better. And I feel like the more that you're out there, the better you're going to be. So to be gone – well, not gone, but hardly back there, you're not really going to progress as a player if you're not getting, attempts.
Yeah, which brings up a point. That's the weird position that this Reds team's in right now, because everybody wants to scream to the heavens and say that we need to go and try to win this division right now. We need to try to take advantage of while we have an opportunity to make the playoffs. And the downside to that, if that's how we want to treat this, is that we're going to try to put the best players out there to win every day, and Tyler Stevenson behind the plate is not the best player to put back there more times than not if you're trying to win the baseball game. So they've tried their best to give him at-bats at the DH spot to get him going, hopefully. That hasn't really progressed the way they probably would have hoped. We're kind of hitting on things we talked about last night on the podcast, but just because I get the Tucker Barnhart thing, but here's my only thing. Me and you could go out and walk 18 holes and play 18 holes of golf with Tiger Woods and Jack Nicklaus for 40 years, my man, and we'll never be as good as them. So Tyler Stevenson can watch those guys play as long as he wants, but until he figures out how to somewhat replicate what those guys are able to do, it's irrelevant. So I'm not trying to kill Tyler. I'm just telling you that unfortunately the Reds are in a weird spot where I think he's regressed defensively, if you want my opinion, and I think that he's unfortunately struggled at the plate, and the combination of those two things have forced their hand in making him, I don't know. You know what I would like? I'd love for him to go down to AAA for just 2 weeks, see if he can't catch every single day, get his mojo back, and come back to this team. And at that point, if he's back, he's full force, then maybe you would consider, if you absolutely need it in a roster spot, at that point you'd have Casale to DFA. But again, like Nick said, that last roster spot usually isn't an enormous deal. But I think them keeping 3 catchers this long has proven that they don't think they have 3 catchers.
Yeah, I know. They clearly see something that I don't. But, I mean, that is what it is. One last thing. You guys were talking about baseball movies. I did want to throw out my top 3, and I'm curious of your guys's. Moneyball, number 1. 8 Men Out is number 2. And then either Bull Durham or A League of Their Own. So those are my top 3 baseball movies. I was curious if anyone had any other ones to recommend or what their top 3 was. So thanks, guys.
Yeah, those are serious ones. Those are serious ones. I'm a kind of a Bull Durham guy. Bull Durham. I'm a major league sucker. I know that, hey, I get it. It's a funny show. Kind of reminds me of Adam Sandler type movies. So I like Major League. And then I got to go with Sandlot.
Coming in at number 3 in Nick Kirby's rankings, The Rookie. That I don't know if was getting hate on or not, but I love The Rookie with Dennis Quaid. Great actor.
Of course you would. You'd love
number
that
2.
movie.
Number 2 is obviously Moneyball. Like, what kind of man would I be not having Moneyball on there? And then number 1, it's controversial. People are going to hate it, and I don't care. I will always go to bat. Fever Pitch is the best baseball movie ever made, period. Hands down, end of story.
All right, that's a guilty pleasure. Honestly, I wouldn't admit that, but it is a good movie.
No. This is 2023. We can admit if we like a movie. Let's not. Don't cater to the haters online.
Doesn't Field of Dreams? Field of Dreams should get an honorable mention.
It's up there. It's up there. Another one that deserves an honorable. Another one that deserves an honorable mention. I think maybe the most underrated baseball movie. I wouldn't put it in my top 3. The Love of the Game. That is a great movie.
What's the Big Baby movie? I love it when you call me Big Pop. What's that movie called?
You've been waiting a while. What do you got?
Hey guys, I got 2 questions for you. One's pretty straightforward, and the first, I guess, is who do you see the Reds taking in the draft? I've seen a lot about Rhett Lauder out of Wake Forest, and I wouldn't be opposed to that, absolutely. But I just didn't know if you or Trace had any other thoughts or go in a different position. And then just my second question, this one's definitely a hot take. I'm not saying I believe in this or I'm for this, but something I've noticed with the Padres, they're playing Tatis in right field. And what I'm getting at is Elly De La Cruz, cannon for an arm. I'm not saying I'm for it either at all, but I'm just curious. Like, you talk about like the log jams the Reds are having. I know, again, I'm not for this at all, but could you see any universe where that would happen? Like a cannon for an arm, an athlete. I get, though, he's like your best fielder, best athlete. You play him at his best spot. I totally understand that. Not saying I'm for it at all. But I am a tad surprised that we haven't even heard like a rumbling of it at all. But I get it on both sides. But I just want to hear your guys' thoughts.
I hate that Elly's playing third base, to be honest. I wish he was playing shortstop every day. That's a position they need to stick him at, and they need to not mess around with that. But third base, I don't think is as big of a deal. No, I have no chance of moving him to the outfield. As far as the draft, I know absolutely nothing about the college baseball draft, so I have no educated opinion on that. When we get a little closer, we'll bring on Bryce Spalding. That dude, I don't know if he ever sleeps, but he's the guy to ask. So bug him on Twitter. We'll bring him on, maybe do a little rundown before. And you know what? I may even see if we can get someone in the Reds organization after the draft to talk about the players. So able to get that last year for a previous podcast I was a part of, and that was a lot of fun. So we'll work on that.
The draft is such a crapshoot, man. It is such a crapshoot. Now, I do think that the top guys, the 1 through 5 guys, and I know we picked 7th, but usually the 1 through 5 guys, there's a little bit more of a less of a crapshoot, like the Bryce Harpers, the Steven Strasburgs, maybe the Skeens kid this year. I don't get into the draft a whole lot because I just don't see immediate impacts all that often, and it's just so much of a time investment on something that doesn't seem like it's going to actually bear a whole lot of fruit to the labor that you'd have to do to figure out who you think that the Reds are going to pick or not pick. So I guess I'm a little bit lazy in that regards. As far as moving Elly, you just don't do it, man. You don't use the fine china in the house to drink Kool-Aid out of. You know what I'm saying? We're not messing with the prize jewel just for other guys that we might think that need to come in. So I'll leave it at that. I don't want to try to crush other people. I just think that Elly De La Cruz can be a generational talent. We're not touching him. We're not moving him. We're letting him be, and we'll live with the result for others. So those are just the facts of life with Elly. Not touching him.
And I think it's going to age like if you had said move Barry Larkin off shortstop. I legit think it's going to age like that in 10, 15 years. But anything else?
No, yeah, I definitely agree with you guys. I'm not, and just wanted to reiterate, I'm not for that at all. But just I was interested more like what the Padres are doing, and maybe like what are your thoughts like with the Padres also. And then the only other thing I was gonna say to counter Trace about the draft, I definitely understand from your guys' point of view, like it's hard to like inspect on that stuff. But I'd say for the Reds especially, like recent draft picks actually have the fruits of labor have came to the Reds. Like India's been drafted pretty recently, Matt McClain. So I do think it's kind of cool to see some of those guys getting to the bigs sooner rather than later.
Well, Fernando Tatis Jr. is also not a very good defensive shortstop either. Like he struggled there. I think he led the league in errors. Trying to pull up his stats right now, like his outs above average, but it was not pretty. So I think he's in a kind of a different situation. As far as the Padres, I think we're seeing around baseball, the Mets too. You just can't buy a championship. Like spending's great, but I think you see there's smart spending and there's dumb spending. The Braves, that's smart spending, strategic, developing players, signing some of them long term, adding strategically where you need, and then there's just dumb spending like the Mets did. And Padres, I don't know if it was as dumb, but like that Cronenworth extension, like they're just throwing out bad contracts. Yeah, so. Anything else?
All good, thank you.
All right, Brendan, you're up. Then Al, we'll get to you, okay?
How's it going, guys?
Good.
Good. I just wanted to say real quick, love what you guys are doing and Chatterbox as a whole is. So keep on keeping on. Couple quick things. I don't know if you've touched at all on Hunter Green tonight. I think C. Trent or someone else reported on him. We may not see him at all in July. I was kind of hoping initially when he got placed on the IL that maybe it was one of these phantom stints to kind of help limit his innings. I guess you never know for sure unless the team tells you. But is there some cause for concern there? And then kind of just a side comment when Trace was talking about July is the make or break month. I mean, the schedule makers really didn't do us any favors. Like we had Atlanta into Baltimore into San Diego, then lots of Milwaukee, lots of that tough NL West. So, man, if they're in the race at the end of July, I think they'll have earned it. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, he brings up a good. But first, thank you for saying what you said. Second thing, I don't know. Hopefully, not getting feedback. I'm assuming there might be feedback. We'll try to figure out this whole situation. We think we figured out yesterday. I don't know if we did, but nonetheless, listen. If the Reds are in the race at the end of July, then I think that we can sit back and realize that we actually have a team that's going to be there at the end. Like they're going to have to earn it. They're not going to luck into their way to being in the playoff race by the end of this month. I say this month is in July, so we'll see how it goes. Hopefully there's not an echo. Let me know, chat, if there is one. I'll try to figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely some concern with, Green. They pushed him back, and then he went on the IL on top of it. Anytime you're sitting for that long, I mean, there's always the chance that, God forbid, it just ends up ending your season. But, I mean, we're just kind of in a wait and see. I don't know. I hope he comes back because we need him. Anything else?
Yeah, no, for sure. Last comment I'd like to say, just a quick kind of sidebar, but background on me. I'm originally from Denver, Colorado, and kind of weird. My mom's side of the family is from Cincinnati, so I was mainly a Bengals fan out there and kind of the Rockies off and on. That crazy Rocktober run in 2007 was great, but I had never really been diehard for them or the Reds. But this year has been a lot of fun. I've been a fan of baseball in general, and doing fantasy stuff. But it's just exciting. I've been to the ballpark 5-6 times already. A lot of young guys, and the fans seem excited too. So it's a great time for baseball in the city. So go Reds.
Hell yeah. Yeah, it's been this season's been more than me and Trace could have dreamed of. I mean, we were just trying to start this show, get in before everyone else tried to get in, like the Bengals, now there's 80,000 Bengals podcasts out there. We were just trying, and not that, I mean, I obviously, anyone who's followed me knows that I believed in what the Reds were doing, but I didn't expect this year, and I mean, I think I said last night, I don't know if the Reds are a year ahead of schedule. I think the Reds might be a year and a half ahead of schedule. So this has just been expectations are a crazy thing, man. When you don't have expectations and you go out and perform, it is incredibly, incredibly fun. And when you do have expectations and you don't come out and perform, it's not fun. So, I think that plays a lot into it as well. But this has been as fun as I can ever remember following the Reds.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if anything, a lot of these guys are getting the opportunity to play in meaningful baseball games where we genuinely thought a lot of these rookies might be playing in, 30 games under 500, crowds that are in the 5 to 10 to 15,000 range. Listen, McLean, Elly, Steer, they all got to play in a sold-out stadium 3 days in a row at Great American Ballpark, playing against the Atlanta Braves when they were in first place. That's valuable. That's valuable. Now, I get over a course of time that we're sick and tired of the moral victories. The Reds fans are over the rebuilds. I understand all of that. However, when you peel back the layer of what this team is, it's hard for me not to sit back and just think to myself that this is not something that you can clearly see is different than what we've had before. I've never seen a guy like Matt McLean and Elly De La Cruz and Spencer Steer all be rookies, and pretty much you could say are one of the, if not the consistent and or the guys that you expect to produce when they come up to the plate on a night in, night out basis. So I don't know, again, not to get too far off subject here, but I just keep reiterating that for those that want to change the expectations and for those that are all about what this team could do as far as the postseason aspirations and all that, I get it. I'm not naive to it. I'm not trying to say that's a wrong mindset, but it does remind me of the bosses that are sales bosses that I used to have, to where you would go out and you'd bust your tail on the ground and you'd come back and you'd say, hey, I met quota or whatever it may be. Like, I sold what you wanted me to sell. And then they're like, you know what, though? You're really good, Trace, or you're really good. I think you could actually do this instead. Here, you know what? I know you sold 4 Xerox copiers this month, and we really only wanted you to sell 3, but I think you can sell 6. Those people are the most annoying people in the world. It's like, let's just be realistic. Let's sit down and say, what do we want? And let's try to accomplish it. And for the fans that want to flip this on its head now, the ones that are chanting out there that we're going to lose 100 games, which again, you're welcome back. Come on in. Be my guest. I hope you watch the Reds. I hope you sell the stadium out. I'm not trying to say you're a better fan than I am or I'm a worse fan than you. But, you can't just say they're going to lose 100 games and then turn around and be like, Nick Krall, I mean, why didn't he have a plan for the 10th starting pitcher that was going to get hurt this year? I mean, what are we doing in the offseason? You should have seen this coming. It's like, what do you mean? The guy just went out and got guys not that long ago that are 2 years ahead of schedule that might be arguably some of the best rookies in Major League Baseball. And you want to turn around and complain? I get we're tired of losing. I get it. But, have a brain. Use your brain. Watch the games and think to yourself, this looks different. Let me get on board. Let me try to be positive. Enjoy the Reds. End of rant. I'm going to put my headphones back on.
I mean, he interrupted, but you guys should definitely take a page from the Manchester soccer team, basically be like, come on, you Reds.
Let's go.
Get it?
Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, go on, chant it. Come on, you Reds.
Come on, you Reds. Is that what you want me to do?
Come on, you Reds. The rest is still unwritten.
Yeah, don't do that. Exactly. No one likes fun around. No, don't do that. You'll get told that you're a loser.
Oh, real quick.
Well, a couple more real quicks. It won't be real quick.
I don't know. I lost what I was going to say. Damn it.
It's a pea-sized brain.
No. I got it. All right. You know what would be worse than having a losing for however long it's been? It would be rushing back to try to compete right away and screwing this whole thing up. That is worse than the losing and not being patient. You can't get this wrong. You got to get this right. Not just for this year, but for the next year and the next year and the next year and the next year. You got to get it right now.
Exactly. I mean, then again, it's bad when you're losing to the Anaheim Angels.
Hell yeah.
Get the joke?
No, I did. That went over my head.
Al, you got anything else for us?
All right, I think that's about it. So I'm going to go ahead and head off right here. Anyways, come on, you Reds.
Come on, you Reds. That was electric. All right, who did I just bring in? Cole? Good luck following that, buddy.
Hey guys, just a big fan of you. Just a big fan of your work. I love Nick Kirby. I love Trace. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing well.
That's good. Hey, I got a couple things for you. Number one, my top 3 favorite baseball movies: Moneyball, Bad News Bears, Benchwarmers. 3 great ones there.
Great, love it.
Good. Okay, I love the discourse. Here we go. And then this one is a good one. What is your guys' favorite Reds walk-off? Because mine is Jonathan India's walk-off single. I'm sorry. Jonathan India's walk-off single against the Rockies in 2022. I tried to get it out with a straight face.
I mean, Will Benson's was pretty electric. I mean, I think it's obviously got to be Bruce, but Will Benson's walk-off.
Ramon Hernandez is low-key good.
Yeah, that's good. I might like Benson more than Ramon, though. I'm not going to lie. That Benson, man, that was his first big league home run. The way he reacted, I don't know. I want a big giant poster of him just going nuts. I thought that was great. Cole, you got anything else for us?
No, I just really love your guys' work. You guys put on a great show, Chatterbox Reds. I listen to it morning, noon, and night. I love you guys. Trace, I'd love you to sing Unwritten. Thank you. I'll hang up.
Does that sound like Elliot in a different person? Am I missing something here? Is something going on?
Are you being serious, Nick?
My name is Cole.
Nick.
Cool. You and Elliot have a very similar voice. All right. Who did I bring in? Whoever I brought in, you're up.
Hey, guys. This is Caleb. First time, long time. Really appreciate the show and the bringing back of the banana phone. Couple of things. Favorite walk-off has to be Adam Dunn's walk-off grand slam.
Oh, yeah. Good one.
That's a classic. Can't beat it. And honestly, my main thing is these are great conversations to have, right? After suffering through so many years with like replacement level players and guys who aren't in the MLB anymore, just to have these conversations about, a great player in Jonathan India who won Rookie of the Year and figuring out what to do with him. It doesn't get much better than that, honestly. One question I had, what do you guys think that they should do with the pitching? I know some people want them to pull off a big trade and get a big-time arm. I don't know that any of those are available. Or do they just kind of stand pat, piecemeal it together like they're doing right now? Or my personal option is Newman, Senzel, the catcher, whoever, package one of those guys, get like a 5th starter or some guy in AAA and just kind of work with it from there. What do you guys think?
Well, funny you asked. Those who are watching on YouTube, I already prepared a graphic for this because I thought we were going to get this question at some point. My starting pitching trade targets: Lance Lynn, Michael Lorenzen, Zach Greinke, Carlos Carrasco, James Paxton, Rich Hill, and Brad Keller. I know Brad Keller's on the IL, but he's starting a rehab assignment. Those are all guys that cost a little bit of money. Not great elite pitchers. I think you could get them for very, very little prospect back. You wouldn't have to give up much for them. Pretty much just taking on the salary. Most of those guys are going to cost about $2-3 million this year for the Reds. I would hope they can pony up and spend that. I think those are the kind of players that you go after as opposed to someone that's going to cost you prospects. I don't think now's the time to be giving up prospects. Trace, you got anyone?
I don't. I would be lying if I said I did. I know. I won't be upset if they go out and try to get some guys from a salary perspective. And the names have been brought up thousands of times, whether it's the Lance Lynn's of the world or the JP Sears gets brought up a good amount on the chat. But my main point is I'm just not giving up prospects. I'm not salvaging the future 1 second. If it means that we got to do anything that's what it's going to require to get a couple starting pitchers. Let's just see if we can't survive in advance right now. You know what it feels like? It kind of feels like if we want to use an analogy of a baseball game, it kind of feels like we're up 7-1 or 7-2 in the fourth inning, and our pitcher, if our starting pitcher just got hurt, and we're like, we really don't have much guys in the bullpen. We got 1 or 2 guys left maybe. Let's see if we can't go out there and throw guys that we know aren't very good. And then if the game ends up getting tied 7-7 or 8-7 within the next 2 or 3 innings, then maybe it wasn't meant to be anyway. So let's just see if we can't get lucky for the next month, survive in advance to where we play just well enough to still be in it. And then again, maybe Graham Ashcraft comes back to be the guy that we thought he was, and Lodolo comes back and he throws the ball relatively well, and so does Hunter Green. And then maybe, just maybe, we do run into like Connor Phillips getting really, really hot, and he ends up coming up and he's somewhat similar to an Andrew Abbott, although I don't think that's fair to Connor. That's the better approach, in my opinion, than to go out and find rental players, or not even just rental players, but everyone thinks that, like, when you make a trade, at least I don't know, I don't say everybody, but what's up with the thought process, in my opinion, Nick, to where, and in the chat and everyone that's on this space, is that when we make a trade to somebody, they actually think, the other team thinks they got a better deal than we did, obviously. Like, that's part of the deal. They're going to ask for something in return that should be worth having. And I hear everyone saying, well, we'll trade him a shortstop, trade him a third baseman. We got plenty of those already. Well, it's all about windows. Like, you know, Edwin Arroyo, we probably won't need Edwin Arroyo for the next 2 or 3 years. But for maybe 5 years from now, 5 years is probably a lot, but 4 years from now, Edwin Arroyo might be one of the best prospects that there is. And, oh, by the way, he's actually playing for the Twins because we decided to trade him for some guy back in 2023 when we were right around 500 trying to get to the playoffs. It's like, let's not go overboard. Let's be wise. Let's not pull a Minnesota Twins, send Spencer Steer and Christian Encarnacion Strand for a guy that's not going to help you. And no offense to Malley, but you know, I'm not trying to say just because he got hurt that was a bad trade, but I think it's probably safe to say, even if he threw the ball relatively well, it wasn't a great trade.
All right, I got Caleb, I want to ask you who your target would be. And then we'll get to some housekeeping here first. Brewers lost, so sucks. But the Reds can pull this off. They will be alone in first place. Game is restarting at 10:50, as several people have said to me. Shout out to you. So, Trace, I'm thinking we will ride this out until 10:50.
Talking to your microphone, Nick.
I'm thinking we will ride this out until 10:50 when the game restarts. We'll keep this stream going, so those in the chat, you can keep having a good time. We'll probably put up a graphic and maybe come back in the night. That sounds like a good plan.
Sounds like a good plan. It definitely sounds like a good plan if you talk into your microphone for us. Yeah, that's a good idea.
All right. Well, I'm not trying to overdo it here. All right, Caleb, who's your trade target? Caleb, wouldn't it be electric to clinch the division with Lance Lynn on the mound when the Cardinals are supposed to win the division this year? Like, you just throw that in their faces. That'd be great.
That's a fair point. I'm sure the best answer is baseball on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that's good. They've already shown that they're willing to eat some money this year with dropping Will Myers. So I think what you said, that's probably the best route. piecemealing it together stresses me out. Like, I'm just like, throwing out whoever they're bringing up from AAA that has 8, 9, 10 ERAs and putting bullpens, taxing the bullpen. It just, I think they need to do something. I'd like to see them do something, but we'll see. Appreciate the time, guys.
Yeah, I love it. Great call, Caleb. Thank you. Will, my man, you're up. We don't have anyone else in the queue, so if anyone else wants to chime in, you'll be able to get on here before 10:50. Will, just unmute yourself whenever you're ready.
What's up, Trace? What's up, Nick?
What's up?
Beautiful night. What's up? Hey, Trace, I love the Sinclair baseball shirt.
Hell yeah, man. Too bad it doesn't exist anymore. It's a damn shame.
What's going on? Is it ever going to be back? Did you play at Sinclair?
I did play at Sinclair. I don't think it's going to come back. I think that when I was there, not that that this is riveting content, I know for many people, but the president of the college, I don't think was a huge fan of athletics because it took away financially from the school a little bit, and he used COVID as an excuse to basically cancel all the programs. And just like COVID has done many things, it decided that they weren't going to bring it back, regardless of how good the program was. So it's a shame, but it is what it is, as I say.
It's a damn shame. That's right. Hey, all I got to say is I can't wait for July 16th.
What's that?
What date?
17th. Hell yeah. July 17th. For those that don't know, we're doing a Chatterbox Reds night Monday, July 17th. We will be renting out the riverboat deck. I think I got that right. I believe that's what it's called, but it's obviously the big boat out in center field. We got it. First 125 people that purchase $100 in merch on our website, which will be on July 1st. They will get a free ticket. If you want to buy a ticket, you can, but it's $100, so I would just suggest getting merch instead because that would make more sense. If you are on YouTube stream right now, I'm going to throw up really quickly a nice little quick preview of one of the T-shirts, and we're trying our best to make things fun, interesting, be unique, and but nonetheless, thank you for mentioning that. And I wanted to give that a quick promo for those that aren't sure what you were talking about. But yeah, July 17th. Hope to see you there, man.
All right, I'll be there. Any chance this game ends in a rain delay? Reds get a dub?
Restarting 10:50, buddy.
Oh, 10:50. I'm behind. My bad.
You're good.
Maybe you never know whether Mother Nature might come peek its head back out again. Maybe we can just delay it again. I don't know. It would be nice to be able to be on the right side of the weather. It seems like yesterday we were on the wrong side of the weather. Tonight would be kind of cool if they just decided it was going to lightning and rain for the next 3 or 4 hours and they banged it. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Buck and Alexis, can't wait for this. Hey, I got to shout out. I was looking in September, possible clinching time. Detroit, if you're a college student, they have 50 or 75% off tickets. I can get a ticket for like $6 there. I think it's like September 15th, 16th, 17th, the series. I think we should get a bunch of Reds fans there. Get up there and clinch.
I love that you're talking about clinching. That is a man that's thinking ahead. That's big time, Will. That is big time.
I'm up here in Fort Wayne, Indiana, so I only got a 2.5-hour drive. So I can't wait. Clinchmas in Detroit. Let's all celebrate. Thanks, guys.
What a beautiful city it would be to clinch in for sure. All right, Dad, you wanted to come back in.
Hey, what's up, guys? So me and my dad have actually been talking about, making Great American pitcher friendly, right? Curious how you guys, where you would adjust that. We've talked about, making the wall higher in right field, but then that takes away seats and, obviously they want to sell tickets. How would you guys make Great American more pitcher friendly?
I don't really want it more pitcher friendly, to be honest. I think I've looked over the entire history of Great American Ballpark, and I think the Reds have had a pretty standard win percentage at home compared to the rest of baseball and what their record's been those years. So I don't really think it's necessarily hurting the Reds. I think the Reds have a lot of players that benefit from this. I think like Spencer Steer, TJ Friedl, Matt McLean. Obviously, Elly De La Cruz, it doesn't matter if the wall's 500 feet. He'll probably hit some home runs. But and the Reds have a lot of guys that benefit from this too. So I don't know. I'd have to see a really, really good study on this that really convinced me, because I don't think it's hurting the Reds. And I think it's fun. I love that. And I was listening to the post game a lot on the Atlanta side over the weekend, just because they were talking about how about that series, and they're talking about how exhausted they were and how they're always like their pitching staff when they come in is always on high alert. I almost think that's kind of like an advantage for the Reds that these opposing pitchers come in and they're kind of like, oh man, this is a tough place to pitch in. So I mean, obviously, yeah, it might hurt some free agents, but really, how many free agent pitching guys are we going to get anyways? I don't know. Tracy, you got any thoughts on this?
I think Great American actually plays a little bit bigger to left field and left center field than it's given credit for. And in center field, I don't think I don't say the real problem, but maybe the part where it feels like a Mickey Mouse park sometimes is right center, and then right field, it feels like the ball carries a little bit better down that line. If you wanted to try to do something, maybe you take out one or two rows and then you elevate the fence a little bit. But again, that's something, in my opinion, that is the juice worth the squeeze for the Castellinis and for the franchise to want to spend that much money. I don't think it is. It doesn't seem like it's worth the hassle at the end of the day. One thing that Nick doesn't bring up a lot of good points, but one thing Nick said a while back that I thought was really good is down the right field line. It would be really cool if they took one or two of those sections completely out. They took the seats completely out, and they made a bunch of standing bars, like just standing room only, to where, obviously there's just bar all the way up to where there was more standing room only opportunities, to where you didn't really need to have like a set assigned seat. It's more of a general admission type situation. I think more and more ballparks are going to that. I love that idea. I think that kind of helps break up some of the I don't want to say poor seating angles and things of that nature down the right field line. The other thing that I don't like about Great American Ballpark, and it's probably the only thing I actually don't like, because I do love Great American. I think I tweeted out the other day, I don't think it's a mid park at all. Their seats, and maybe it's just their seats are so close together. It's like they pack those things in there as tight as the specs could possibly say. If they could just help some guys out a little bit, and if they could have made those just a couple more inches wide, it would have been very, very much appreciated. Let's leave it at that.
My brother in Christ, you got to go sit in Fenway.
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah, you haven't done nothing to try to sit in the seat at Fenway if you're a big dude like me. That is a experience.
Well, the only other thing I wanted to say is, how much fun was it watching the Reds play in Boston with that green monster? So I think the most exciting, I know everyone wanted home runs and blah, 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 right? Like, the most exciting play in baseball for me is a triple or an outfield assist, right?
That's
so
fair.
If that wall is higher, you're just going to see more of Elly pushing to another base. And I think that brings in fans more than a home run, like a bunch of home runs.
That's a good point. Yeah, I don't know.
The question we're all asking, I know it's the elephant in the room. How will this affect 513 Caleb home run balls if we go back to the bars in the outfield?
Well, 513 Caleb came on our show yesterday and said he never actually watches us. So you know what? I like the guy, but I'm still a little hurt. Caleb. That really it was a dagger in the heart. So
I'm newly blocked at 513 Caleb. I apologize, Caleb, if you're listening right now. Unblock me, please.
Oh boy.
Yeah, we're good. Me and Caleb are good. My bad, Nick. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump in there like that.
Hey,
513 Caleb is not a Chatterbox stand type guy. I mean, we can't.
Must not be. I mean, well, to be fair to 513 Caleb, I had seen he kind of had his Jordan flu game the other day, or he kind of was like his Paul Pierce game. I know. He probably hasn't had time. He's had to nurse his injuries.
We gotta stop.
We love him. He's a great guy. I met him last year. Really nice kid, by the way. Really great. I say kid because he's really young. But yeah, cool. All right, Reds Daily. What do you got?
What's up, guys? So growing up a Reds fan, I'll say my least favorite opponent players that played against the Reds were Carlos Zambrano and Javier Baez. So who would you guys say your two least are? Who was your least favorite player that the Reds would face on the normal?
Molina.
Yeah, I mean that's like the obvious one.
Molina. Lance Berkman too. Like way back in the day, it used to piss me off that Lance Berkman would just come in here every single time and just rip the Reds to shreds. That's like maybe a unique one that for some reason every time I think of players that just kill the Reds, Lance Berkman immediately pops in my mind.
Lance Berkman and Roy Oswalt, or whatever his name was, would just destroy them.
Shane Victorino really annoyed the hell out of me in that series, in 2010. Matt Latos, just because he pitched against the Reds in 2012. That was a joke. I don't know.
Dude's a head case. Latos, I don't know what happened with his career, but he is an absolute head case.
You hate to see it.
Nick's, now you guys are getting Nick at Night. You're getting a little bit of Kirby's. All right, on the YouTube, I'm going to throw in another little bit of a merch preview. Like this is just going to turn into a merch preview on the YouTube show. Let's give them another one. I mean, they've been loyal. They've been watching all this time. I'm going to give them another little quick preview. So here goes nothing.
All right, let's go to Ethan again. Ethan, you had something else?
Yeah, I just heard you guys talking about Reds killers, and I think there's only one right answer. At least for the last 5 years, it has to be Ian Happ, right?
Yeah, that's a good one. RM in our YouTube chat, Steve Garvey. I love that. Going back in Kyle Thompson, Carlos Delgado, Rick freaking Monday. That was another one. Rizzo. Yeah, Rizzo, man. That's a good one. Ryan Braun. I think that's who we got. Ethan, do you have anything else for us?
Nope, just had to mention that.
All right, anyone else? We set some speakers. If you got any other questions, anything you want us to talk about, we got about 10 minutes left before we're going to pause it on YouTube and in this stream. We hope you will come back for Chatterbox Reds live on YouTube as soon as the game ends, like we do every single game. Anyone else got anything? Oh, I see another one. Sorry. Joel, let me bring you in.
I got a question for your most underrated Reds player that doesn't get the most respect of all time, really in the last 20, 25 years. Personally, I thought Ryan Friel was just incredible watching him play, just getting all over the diamond, getting dirty, playing every position. He was one of my favorite players growing up. I'm curious to see what you guys think. An underrated player that doesn't get as much respect as he should.
It's a great question. Real quick, Curtis commented Neil Walker, Jay Cantor, Bill Hall. Those are good ones. Real good ones. Mine is simple because I wrote a whole column on him back in the day. It's Reggie Sanders. That guy should be in the Reds Hall of Fame. It's an absolute disgrace that Reggie Sanders is not in the Hall of Fame. So I guess if you say, I don't know if he's really underrated because I think he finished like 5th in MVP in 95 or something like that. But he should be in the Hall of Fame. So I don't know if that's a good answer, but that would be mine. I'm disgusted that Reggie Sanders is not in the Hall of Fame. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Trace?
nice. I like that. Man, this is a tough one. I kind of want to say it as a joke, but I also think that sometimes, like, there's a small, maybe small is the right word. Joey Votto, I just want to say it. I mean, I know it sounds like a joke, but I think sometimes Joey Votto is the answer to that a little bit. Another guy that that went underappreciated while he was here. Man,
Nick Massett, because he was getting hate on off the bench the other day. He had a great career with the Reds. Great career.
You know who I really loved? And I know he's not overrated or underrated because there wasn't enough talk about him. But Arthur Rhodes, man.
Yeah.
Arthur Rhodes was a great arm.
Ryan Hannigan.
I was gonna say Hannigan, but I don't feel. I feel like Hannigan got his props.
I feel like he got a lot of love at the end.
Yeah. I have to think on that for a minute before I start spewing out people.
DeSclafani, maybe?
Ray Herrera.
I've got another one. He was very up and down, but Todd Coffey, I feel like, should get a little bit more respect.
Okay. Nick Massett, though, that's one I stand firm on. Look at that guy's stats with the Reds, and I think a lot of people will be like, "Oh, wow, I was really unfair to that guy." I would love the hell out of having Nick Massett on this team right now.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else for us, Joel?
What about the Reds? DFA. Chris Flexen was DFA'd a couple days ago. Do they need him?
Hell yeah. Get as many of these guys as you can. There was another. Who was the other guy that was DFA'd today? Or another. Chad Kuhl was also DFA'd. I was talking with Reds in 4. I was like, just pick up both of them. Have them both be just bulk guys in your bullpen that can start, that can relieve, that can just eat you through some innings. So, yeah, I'm all for that. All right, we only got a couple minutes left. We got a couple people that still requested. I want to get to everyone that wants to say something. So, Seth, unmute yourself. What's going on?
Let's see. Well, I do have one player in mind that every single time he played the Reds, I think he had a big breakout game, and it is Colton Wong when he was on the Cardinals. I swear every single time that we played him, he had one big, huge game. I remember the 3 home run game a couple years ago and the 4-hit game. So there's that. And then a question for you all. What is your favorite walkout song for a Reds player over the last years? And when that comes to mind, I always think of Scott Rowland's Viva La Vida. So that has to be mine. But I'll get off here and let you all talk and discuss.
You beat me to it. I loved Scott Rowland just because, like, you knew wherever you were in the stadium, you're getting a beer, you're getting some nachos, Scott Rowland's coming up. I thought that was pretty cool. One that was pretty good was that same era was Ryan Ludwig did Brass Monkey. I thought that was really fun. I enjoyed that, and I'm not even like really into that type of music, but I just thought that song with him really fit well. Trace, you got any?
I didn't really pay attention to too many walkout songs. I know "Don't Let Me Down, Bruce" was Jay Bruce's for a while. I thought that was like a little clever, unique. I didn't love it though. It wasn't like I was like fired up about it. You know who I actually, maybe it's just because of a little bit of recency bias, but you know whose walk-up song I absolutely love, and no idea what the hell it says because it's just like Spanish or whatever it is. But Elly's walk-up song right now is elite. It is absolutely elite. I don't know what it's called. If you want in the chat, someone knows. If anyone in this show or in the maybe they probably have this. They probably have this stuff on the internet, I'd assume. But Elly's what is it called?
El Jefe. I don't know how to say it. ELJEFE.
I think it's worth getting a copyright strike on YouTube. I might try it.
Here, I got it right here. I got it. Well, maybe not. My speaker's off.
Nick.
Yeah, I got it. Some good. Kirk Casale's got a pretty good one now. His kind of bang Safari song. I kind of like that. Who's got a "Grinding All My Life" from Nippy Hustle? Someone does. Levi Stout came out to "Dream On" from Aerosmith. That was kind of cool. And then Rest in peace, Will Myers. Kickstart My Heart by Motley Crue. That's a banger. There you go. You got a favorite one?
I really liked Joey Votto when he came out to Jolene. I know he doesn't do it anymore, but that was a favorite for me because it was just so clever.
All right. We got 4 minutes left. Game starts. Reds focus. Real quick, what do you got?
I just want to say about the underrated Reds. I felt like Zach Cozart was underappreciated.
Yeah.
I mean, all-star starter one year. And not necessarily that this player was so much undervalued, but I guess I just kind of liked him. But I really liked Skip Schumacher when he was with the Reds.
All right. Let's get to Zach. Zach, unmute. Zach Fries, unmute yourself. What do you got for us?
Hey guys, I'm just a really big fan of your work, and I'd love to say my favorite walk-up song was Ryan Hannigan. The show goes on. The show goes on, and also I'm really excited for the Reds to win this game. I think Jonathan India's played a great game. I'll hang up and listen. Thanks, guys.
Jesus Christ! All right, Jeff Dort, what do you got?
Yeah, I was just gonna build on the walk-up songs here. What's your walk-up song if you're playing in the bigs? What are you coming up to? I'm Copperhead Road by Steve Earle. No questions asked.
Your Love by the Outfield. I think someone of the Rockies comes out to it. Charlie Blackmon comes out to it. That would be mine. I love that song.
I had 2 walkout songs. One walkout song was The Twist by Chubby Checker, and the other one was Meet Virginia.
There we go. All right, who did I just bring in? I brought someone in. Unmute yourself, whoever I just brought in. You're our last caller of the night because I want to watch this ball game.
Sounds good. I know I'm known as the India hater now, but when he came out to Hustler Music in 21,
yeah,
best walk-up song I've seen.
That's a good one. That did bang pretty hard.
And whoever was asking about what's your walk-up song? Mine is Swag Surfing, senior year of high school. So I can go with that.
Okay, love it.
All right, Nick, we're going to end this thing on a banger. We're going to end this thing on a banger on YouTube, just so you know. So when you take this final call.
I mean, I had to bring this guy in. What's
you take
going
this
on?
final call, and we're going to end it on a banger on YouTube.
Okay. OG, unmute yourself.
Hey, boys, need Elly De La Cruz to have a run tonight. Is that going to happen?
How much we talking, OG? All right, can you pay rent, big boy?
Yeah, I can pay rent.
Where are we at?
Here's the problem. Here's the problem. We don't have too many more at bats. So we got one more chance. Where are we at in the lineup, Nick?
I think Luke Maley's up. He's due up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you'll get one. You'll get one.
Fingers crossed. Go Reds.
Hey, we're rooting for you. All right. Wrap us up here, Trace. Get us out of here.
All right. If you're on YouTube, if you're on, I'll tell you what, even if you're on the spaces, I'll see if I can't figure out a way to get this done. But this is for my man OG here, who needs one run for Elly De La Cruz. And in Elly De La Cruz honor, we are going to get a copyright claim on YouTube because that's just what we do. And that's part of the thing that we do here at Chatterbox. So here goes nothing.
Porque ella me da la mamá de 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 la mamita que está tan rica si pega los dientes como abuelita. Mamita que está tan rica si pega los dientes como abuelita. La mamá de 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 la mamá. Chiquiri bang bang, chiquiri bang bang bang. Con la boca ya me lleva pa' tu bye bye. Chiquiri bang bang, chiquiri bang bang bang. Con la boca ya me lleva pa' tu bye bye. Dale al teteo y chúpame la tetera. Cuando ya lo mueve toda la vaina se maltea. nunca me ha pegado los dientes. De la mamá 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 de la mamá.
Mamá Juana, mamadora, está atrás de los cheques, es abusadora. Mamá Juana, mamadora, está atrás de los cheques, es abusadora.
Whoopty, I'm on the awesome movie. Two-seat, pull up on your bitch in the two-seat. Dale mommy, she see the ice and she wanna party. Dale mommy, she see the ice and she wanna party. She like, ay papi, ay papi, ay, ay papi, ay papi, ay. You see me, you stop me, ay. I see you, I chop it. Diablo, mami, qué culazo.
Dale con tu pla pla pla, con tu pla pla pla.
Por eso quiero que me dé una mamá. Ahora estoy adelante, pero antes estaba atrás. No te imaginas con lo que me voy a buscar. Sube la nota que esta vaina está ratatata. Busca ese cuero que ese culo lo voy a hinchar. Le quito los panties y la pongo a brincar. Chupla, pla, pla, chupla, pla, pla. Hey, siento ni de mi cuerpo. El alfa, el jefe, la planta, el animal, el criminal.
La mamá de 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 la mamá.
Mamá Juana, mamadora, está atrás de los cheques, es abusadora. Mamá Juana, mamadora, está atrás de los cheques, es abusadora. Ya él produciendo fue ya él que dijo. Oye, el que nos unió va a pasar hambre. Yo hice mi diligencia con tiempo. El alfa, el jefe.